Okay, in Unit 6, you have some additional work to do. There's actually a second assignment, like an assignment 2. All right, here's what we're going to do. So if you go into down to the bottom, you see the PowerPoint presentation that's required for you to do. Okay, here's actually what the discussion of this. What I did was I copied it over to a Word document. Okay, so here's just kind of this GL 1.2 and 7.4. That's just showing what the assignment's kind of going to help you with. So you don't really need to worry about that. Same with this PC 4.1. It just says this assignment concerns multiculturalism and what's going on with the global environment concerning GAP and IFRS. Here's where the work actually starts. Prepare PowerPoint presentation. So you won't see this part. I'm adding this as your rubric for you to use so you know how you're going to be graded. You weren't given a rubric, and it makes it harder for you to get a good grade if you don't know exactly what's going to be graded. So let's look at this. Explain the importance of IFRS to new hires in an accounting firm. Okay, so first of all, it needs a minimum of 7 slides. So that's one of your things right here. Minimum of 7 slides, and it says you need to have an abstract and references. So 7 slides including the abstract and reference. The abstract, just think of the abstract as like an introduction. It's technically not the same thing, but I would be fine if you just introduced the problem and that was the slide, right? So in other words, don't let the abstract be anything that confuses you. Just kind of use it as in other words, here's my PowerPoint presentation, and it's going to be about this, IFRS and GAAP, whatever. Then it says it should be attractive and include discussions on the similarities and differences between GAAP and IFRS specifically. So 10 points are similarities and differences between GAAP and IFRS. So let's put that in there. And IFRS. And then I want it to be professional and attractive, right? That's important. It looks like something that your employer would want you to present to other accountants, right? So it should be attractive, similarities. Let's see, and it should focus on the stockholders' equity section of the balance sheet. So discussion of IFRS and GAAP regarding stockholders' equity section. At minimum 3 advantages and disadvantages of adopting IFRS should be presented. So at least 3 advantages and disadvantages worth 10 points. And that's about all the stuff you need to put in there. It also needs to be use APA style, and it says you must include 5 scholarly resources. Right? Scholarly means not Investopedia, not it's got to be stuff that's from academic or professional quality, right? So a Journal of Accountancy or something like one of the CPA type magazines and journals that we use. All right, so you could use the textbook too. That could be one for sure. All right, so the only other thing I wanted to show you about, okay, so I'm gonna include this in the let's see, I'll put it in doc sharing, and I'll include it in the announcements. Try to get this in on time because these are a lot harder to grade, so I need to get them in order to get your grade back to you. Oh, I know what I was going to say. In order to cover this stuff in a PowerPoint presentation, you need to include the notes. So if you go into PowerPoint, you notice the notes are down at the bottom here. So you might put something short like 3 differences and 3 short sentences of differences, right? But then in the notes you have to provide the reference and explain that stuff. So if you put 3 references, I'm sorry, 3 advantages and disadvantages, you're not going to get 10 points if you don't include an explanation in the notes. That's what they mean by your presentation should have speaker's notes. Here it is. Your presentation must contain speaker notes. In other words, that's where you get the detail. The slide itself is just like a headline. You need the detail of it. All right, so don't let this be. This shouldn't be too hard for you to do, but it's something that you need to do. You need to get turned into me, and it's worth 60 points. So that could really be useful towards your grade if you spend a little time on this and have it ready for me.